Chapter 5: Conspiracy and Plot. Kariko and the others were in a strange outdoor bath in Mizuki's living space. It was a bathtub in the air dug in a megalith suspended by a number of thick vines. It was a bathtub that 20 people could easily fit in comfortably. From the bathtub was a tunnel dug into the cliff attached by a suspension bridge. The tunnel was the way to the dressing room and the lake below. Ahahaha, cheers. Sito gave a big stretch to release the tension of battle. Fuku-chan, you did great. Mayan. Fuku was also in good spirits as Sito patted her head. Even so, it should have been just a test flight. Well, the original goal was to find a lucky ship. For some reason, fighting the big Daruma and crippling the Daruma Guild leaves me with slightly complicated feelings. Former pirate Ryoko's reaction seemed more complicated than Kariko and Amane's. For her, the guild was a huge former ally base, and the big Daruma was a ghost ship. It had never been found by the GP before. But it had been defeated in less than a day. I would have enjoyed it more if the mid-level executives hadn't rebelled and forced a surrender. Sito recalled the excitement of battle and ward on her face. Yes, but thanks to that, the big Daruma was captured intact and almost no one died in the battle. Oh ho ho. The problem is that a pretty good number of space pirates have escaped to Reception. If those guys try to rebuild the guild, it could be a little troubling. There were also many space pirates who flew by ship back to Reception to take refuge rather than escape with super spatial jumps because the battle zone was quite hectic. Even so, they had to abandon their own ships outside, right? There's no choice but to let them, because that's where the medical treatment center for the injured is, and Mikihi was the one who sent the data to Mizuki-chan. The reason there was so few dead people was thanks to that. That's a plus for Fuku and Mizuki's reputation. Ho ho ho, even if nearly 40% took refuge, we were able to get the primary and secondary goals, so it's still a great harvest. A pirate's ship is a house for them, and of course the primary method by which they pirate. Of course, there were rich space pirates with multiple ships, but that was only a small percentage of the total population. Although there were many space pirates who didn't carry their assets on the ship was still the most valuable property for them. In other words, if the ship was captured, even if they escaped to Reception, it was the same as losing their vehicle for work and all their property. Most of the space pirates who lost their ships will just leave the business. There was always the option to go under the control of another great space pirate, but it was a humiliating situation to work under someone after you had been the captain of your own ship. Even if you went into debt and got a new space pirate ship for cheap second-hand, it wouldn't compare with a ship that you spent good money on and customized over the years. Probably, nearly half would be destroyed early on. More than that, now I have the big Daruma. Sito gladly looked up at the sky of the residential area. There was an image of the big Daruma projected so as to cover the whole sky there. No way. You were able to accommodate the big Daruma within Mizuki's subspace. That's just insane. Leave it to a royal ship to do such a thing. I understand that it's troublesome to talk about the situation as we conduct the investigation into the ship and the battle, but I can't help but be jealous of your acquisition. Ho ho ho. In other words, Sito forced the situation so that the big Daruma became property of Jurai. Because I commanded the Kamadake and an imperial ship and arrested the big Daruma, the priority is on Jurai. And because the director of the academy will handle the investigation, you can affirm that, right? Well, at the moment Sena is directly reporting to Ms. Airy, right? In the meantime, I'll hand over most of the other pirate battleship we captured to the GP, so be patient for a while and I will publish this information when I can. Since it was possible to store the whole Daruma, it was easy for all the other ships to be stored and taken with them. But if they did that, there would be a big problem and they would have to hand over the big Daruma as well. So, by letting them have the pirate ships to investigate, she earned dibs when it came to investigating the big Daruma. Ho ho. So, you want us to check it last? No, we will allow an investigation team from the GP at an appropriate time. Until then, I'm sure you have more than enough to deal with. Well, in any case, it will take us some time for post-processing this large number of battleships. Well, it'll get done somehow. It was difficult to collect and manage planetary ships as evidence. It was difficult to move the big Daruma without super spatial navigation, and they would have to do research management while staying in this area if they had it. There was no telling how much funding, personnel, and fighting power had to be allocated to do that. But if it was stored in a royal ship, most of those problems were solved, except that the GP couldn't directly lead the investigation. Thank you. The trade between Jurai, the GP, and Academy's 3 leaders was established in the bath. Well then, is Sena still over there? There are talks piling up over who to partner him with. I started from nothing. I jumped into the world of piracy with a single vessel, and now it's come to this. Sena and Daruma were sitting opposite each other in a luxurious conscription room in the Kamadake staff residential district. Sena looked like a grandson who was being told a story by his grandfather. Ahaha. Somehow the 2 beautiful lovers of Daruma were on both sides of Sena, weeping as if Sena was their husband now. It was a sign they recognized Sena, who beat their boss, as their new boss. That's why they were now Sena's women. Of course, it was because the girls enjoyed being that way. And one day, after I had been through many battles, when I got this funny-looking statue of a creature that I bought at an antique shop, my fate changed, and the world opened wide for me. He said, referring to the doll next to him. Is that possibly why you're called Daruma? Come on, you already know me so well. I had heard the name of the figure from the antique shop and at a later date renamed myself to Daruma. However, Sena was more conscious towards the label on the doll, which was stretched over the lower part of the Daruma doll rather than his origin. Hey, are you listening to me properly? Sorry, sir. This is why young people in recent years haven't been as successful. After that, everything was going well, and the guild expanded with the momentum of bamboo. Daruma was talking happily until then, that is until you came into the picture. And now, to be losing everything in this way. Ugh. Oh, he began to shiver in his shoulders, and at last he fell down on the table between them and burst into tears. Really, I'm sorry. There was no choice but to apologize to the adult crying in front of him. And Daruma rolled over the desk and stopped in front of Sena. Property of Eri Masaki was written on the old label on the doll, and that's what Sena was concerned about just a while ago. Prepare yourself. Sena Yamada. Sirio had left the mess hall and was standing in the dock at reception that the Unko was moored in. Good thing we arrived here safely. Kamachi had also finished eating and stood next to Sirio and looked up at the Unko as well. How's this safe? The exterior is completely gone, and the president was caught by the time we got there. I wonder what would have happened if we had jumped out in the middle of the GP and Jurai. Somehow we were able to escape to reception. There was still some luck left, I guess. Thanks to the purging of the exterior, the look of the ship changed drastically. It wasn't even recognizable as a lucky ship. Otherwise, it would have been curtains for them. And there are still many guild members here. We can make the decision to rebuild the guild here. I'll leave it up to you. In any case, I'm just a third-party employee of the guild. Then what are you going to do? I know. We will shine again. Let's take down the enemy of the president. Eri had returned safely to the Academy's president's office. By the way, how is Daruma's hearing progressing? Sito was at her desk and asked Mikami this as they drank tea together while Eri checked documents that had accumulated while she was away. He's being extremely cooperative, as if something has possessed him to confess. He seems to have mellowed out greatly since being captured by Sena. Ho ho ho. Mikami showed images of Daruma's solitary confinement cell on the monitor. There was Daruma performing Zen meditation with a gentle expression. It's amazing that that jump happened, Washa-chan. It seems like a result of Sena's good luck overlapping with that of the big Darumas. Good luck, that's a surprising phrase to hear. Of course, the data we collected certainly helped, but we're still missing that good luck ship. After all that, you couldn't catch it? It came to the big Daruma once they sent word of the encounter, but despite a wide-scale search, we couldn't find the ship. Well, I wonder if the luck of the Unko also played a part in us finding the big Daruma? Could you imagine such a thing? It would be a funny joke, ho-ho. Even if we say that we narrowed it down, there were tens of thousands of possible locations, so Sena's achievement was still great. We landed it in a single try. And he showed the power that might exceed the first-generation Imperial ships. The Kamadake and Mizuki are also great. So, I'm more interested in that than the big Daruma. Eri came close to the sofa where Sito was. Her check of the documents was over. Oh, are you done already? I stayed up all night long. Ho ho ho, cheers for the good work. Mikami handed tea to Eri. She drank all the tea, even though it was still fairly hot, and then she took many sweets and candies and threw them into her mouth. Her tired brain wanted sugar. And then they watched the battle recordings of the Kamedake which were flowing in. It wasn't only data recorded by the Kamedake, there were also videos recorded by Recepshi and the Big Daruma. Even so, having shown such power, it'll be difficult to handle the Kamedake in the future. Since Fuku has a brain and her body has an astral, she will be treated like a royal ship, but it seems inevitable that full-blown research is inevitable from those in leadership positions. For the time being, Sena will have to graduate from the GP Academy. I'll continue to serve him just like I serve every other police officer we have. Judging from our records on the Daruma Guild, quite a few space pirates managed to escape. Mikami looked in Sito's direction. It can't be helped if they escape to Recepshi. Well, I suppose it's good for us. It's dangerous for the space pirates to become disorderly. In that sense, we're lucky a large part of the guild still exists. Ho ho ho. Is it possible to catch them all so they can't escape? Currently, all the high-ranking pirates have been caught. Oh, was my ploy obvious? She had planned for them to escape. The Congress of the Galactic Federation has decided that the Daruma Guild won't be completely destroyed. The boundaries of the territory claimed by the Daruma Guild is adjacent to the Renza Federation space. We don't want it absorbed by the pirate guilds over there now, do we? She admitted in a frightening but dismissive way. When the survival of King Balta is announced and approved as a formal nation, the Daruma Guild, who were originally Baltan space pirates, will undoubtedly be merged with Balta, and that kingdom is under Jurai's control, so it all works out. In other words, that space becomes Jurian territory. Everyone at the meeting almost acted like they were practically compelled to agree. Sito said, admitting that it was intentional. When Balta's survival is announced, you'll regret it, especially Senua. Eri said, looking at Mikami. If we can take control of the pirates who dominated that area, then Senua also benefits as a result, and in that situation realistically. Jurai will be at the forefront of the Renza Federation pirates, so there will be no complaints on our end as Jurai will be defending us all from them in a way. The benefit of obtaining a vast space was great, but it also required a lot of labor to defend it. As a member of the Galactic Federation, you'd never know it, but if you're adjacent to an organization that you're always in combat with, you'd need a lot of money and talent to monitor its defenses. Even though Jurian space had increased by a large amount, it was quite doubtful whether it matched the income that could be obtained from a territory with such little development. The defense of the space in this case was actually something only Jurai could manage to do. Well then, what about the rumor that there are spacecraft with the same power as that of royal ships in the shape of humanoid weapons? Yes, it's true, as few as there are, they seem to be 5th and 4th, and even some 3rd-generation class weapons there. Ho ho ho, that is also a troubling matter. When it comes to facing such an enemy, the GP, if it was leading the matter, would likely use it for military expansion. After raising taxes, of course. So that's why Jurai wants it. Won't that be impossible to deal with at first? Well, that's why I want to keep the Kamedake ready to use, because the other party consists of space pirates. We can't fight them directly with the royal ships. Besides that, introducing a large quantity of royal ships to the area will alarm those in the Renza Federation, and it will take time and money to do a massive suppression campaign like before Sena arrived. Ringo and the accounting troops would be furious. In the meantime, Balta's border defense is going to gradually be led by the GP, but to a certain extent the Kamedake will have to be used to fend off the space pirates. So, what's the timing going to be on Balta joining the Galactic Union? I'm thinking it would be best to do it at the same time as the Independence Declaration. I still haven't decided whether to negotiate it with the Federation in advance, but that's another problem, Sito said, glancing at Mikami. What do you want to do? Unnecessary evil is nothing but evil if you don't need it. However, I feel like it is still needed quite a bit. Mikami looked up to the sky as she said that. There's no choice but to do so. Yes, I know. Anyway, it's fortunate for us that the new leadership on your end is considered effective so far. There are those who are going to break from the Kuramitsu family anyways, but thank you. Eri lowered her head and presented Mikami with potatoes as if it were a child's reward. I was conscious that it would happen, but I didn't think that this day would come to be realized as quickly as it did. A fully complete galactic union. It's no longer a dream. But before that, we have a lot of cleaning to do. We have to drill and fill the cavities in our ranks. On the screen, a lucky ship was projected. I will not go forward with supporting such a thing. Ahahaha. It's a mistake to do this during such an important transitional period. Tama banged both his fists on a round table. Well, maybe. But it can't be helped but to blame Nikita. Not that anyone could ever imagine such a situation anyways. Speaking of, how's the situation? Haha. We're currently undertaking efforts to kill the space pirates who are running away. Then when is a better time than now? The military has completely blundered on this issue to such a great extent, and what's more is that now the big Daruma has been secured by Jurai. By managing to put the Daruma Guild in such a broken state with just one Kamadake ship, the momentum of military unnecessaryists has also increased. The road to the Senua envisioned by Tama has been lost. These things are not just problems. This is a crisis for the existence of a prosperous GP army, and we need a new enemy to avoid this. The biggest guild of space pirates has disappeared. This is a chance for the other guilds to expand their power, but since the guilds left are mostly small-timers and there is a limit even if they expand their power, the most convenient possibility is Tarrant? But he's difficult to control. The value of the Kamadake has further raised due to him, because he has handed over the existing deadless reserves and parts and manufacturing plants. We need to have them hand over the Kamadake with the terminal brain body as soon as possible. Huh, that was nice of him. And he added another criterion in addition. It's not something outrageously difficult, is it? No, we have to capture someone. One person? Who is it that we have to hand over? This guy. Him. The executives who saw the man's photo on the monitor changed their complexion. Is that all right? What if he tries to mass-produce the Kamadake? We don't have to worry. After all, it was made with human hands. Can't be any more troublesome a thing than a royal ship now, can it? Knowing its creator, if we get the technology, can we mass-produce it here? Judging from the person's character, mass production is impossible. The Deadless is a good example. Despite the fact that the Deadless was a mass-produced ship, only one ship used by Tarrant was ever in operation. Also, this last time it was working in conjunction with a royal ship. Although it's a powerful ship on its own, there's no need to be too afraid. Either way, the guilty charges put on by this man are all military-related things. It wouldn't be a problem to change up his sentence a bit. However, Mikami is a problem. We must be careful not to get caught. Let's wait for the situation to calm down and then let's take the Kamadake. A satisfied smile appeared on Tama's face. Despite the lack of luck during the earlier intense fighting, there was still a certain amount of good luck left in the Unko. The containers that they had taken were connected in a long trailing line behind them like they were in traffic on a transcontinental railway. Ha ha ha. We're making tons of money today. At this rate, reconstruction costs for the guild will be no problem at all. You should become the new leader. Don't say such foolish things, you idiot. I'm just doing my best for the sake of all of us. Someday I will rescue our president and defeat that wretch Sana Yamada. Until that day, I won't rest. Sirio got up quickly and decided to pose towards the main monitor. By the way, why haven't we encountered the Kamadake yet? We have to be the only pirate vessel still out there. This is totally unexpected. They must be neglecting their duties. Perhaps our luck has recovered to previous levels. Well, I guess even warriors are allowed to rest. Sirio leaned against the backrest with his arms folded. We're picking up something on radar. Barry raised his voice and tension rose throughout the bridge. Sana Yamada? No, it's a cargo ship from the energy mass ratio. It seems to be full of an unusual amount of cargo. All right, it's time to get down to business. Actually, I was asked by Sirio's father to retrieve him. In the Kamadake's internal lounge, Sito was speaking to Sana. Since the Daruma Guild has been crushed, can't you let other people handle that? Amain said reluctantly. Even so. Mr. Ten has had no luck reaching him, and besides that will never work. If he is called back during the contract period, they're supposed to pay a penalty. Are you serious? Everyone was truly amazed. That's just like the Tenin family. Originally, that statue was there to ensure their commerce with the Daruma Guild, but because the other party has been crushed, they can't expect any profits and they don't want any more of a loss, so they want us to take him back in the form of an arrest. A gold spoon makes for an easy break, Neju said. Sito nodded nicely. That's why I'm trying to have you get him back into GP custody, but as for arresting him, he's going to rot for a while, isn't he? Amain looked joyful. When you calculate the amount of damage done by the lucky ship as of now, he's looking at about 30 years. That's wonderful. Let's catch him. We can sink his ship if he resists, right? I feel sorry for him. Apart from Amain, everyone was largely sympathetic to Sirio. They disliked him but didn't hate him. And to those not directly harmed by him, he was an interesting character from a distant viewpoint. Quit wasting your pity. That idiot is just reaping the shit he has sown. He brought it on himself. But even if we have to capture him, the problem is that the Kamedake hasn't been able to encounter a lucky ship since we encountered the big Daruma, even using the data we got from that. Kariko quickly operated the terminal and calculated the data. The odds of encountering him again gives us 4 years and 2 months at the soonest. For years. For Lorelei Sena, that's nothing. The shortest time is of course the next time we jump out. I need you to capture him faster and securely. Sito smiled a mischievous smile. In her eyes you could tell she had thought of something. I think I'll make him come to us. The acquisitions officer has a message for you, Captain. It seems that every shipment we captured is full of messages addressed to you. What? Similar things are being transferred to us from other space pirates. From the scans we preformed, it doesn't seem to be anything dangerous. What do you want us to do? Okay, please bring me one. As Sirio strangely twisted his head, quite a large case was transferred in. The inside was packed with letters. Are there a lot of them? He took a copy out of the case. In the Academy's solar system, on one of its outer rings, an event site was being built suddenly. A medium-sized general-purpose unit acted as the base of the construction site. Various kinds of construction equipment were working. It was a kind of mobile tent shack. It's coming along quickly. Sito, who was watching the construction from the control room, said satisfied. Eri and Mikami were also present, inspecting the progress of the work. Next to Sito was Ekishito Reisepshi, the general manager of Reisepshi. Indeed, and it's only been 3 days. I never thought one could do this in such a short time. For us, it's a very routine matter. Thank you for letting us administer this. Well, consider it an apology for arresting your greatest tenant. Well, it wasn't so bad. I got to witness a wonderful event that we rarely see, and the only thing I was surprised about was that you wanted more people to watch it live. I sent you the other recordings. Whatever you can get for that will be more than enough of a substitute, but if you can, I prefer you avoid publishing them for a while. Sito's biggest concern was the scene showing the material change of Light Hawk wings. This part alone would be a source of many problems. First of all, it would create operational problems for royal ships. Mizuki was a newly grown royal ship. She had not been announced to the public. In other words, they did a space battle without permission. Also, the 6 Light Hawk wings indicated a royal ship was there. If it was known that they were created by the Kamedake, that would also create a variety of problems. The same went for the footage of the Kamedake Sky Vulgar. Ho, there were lots of witnesses and also images taken by customers of Reisepshi flowing on the net. There was no way to hide it. Other countries and philosophers are requesting verification in confidence. Did you think that it would be misappropriated, Eri? Everyone is celebrating the capture of the Daruma Guild. So the Galactic Federation will sit on the issue for a while, but no other action is needed. For now, we have to urgently investigate the big Daruma. Well, for now, the original videos recorded here are strictly prohibited from being shown. Oh. Ekishito noticed the caller calling on the monitor. Sena is here. With that he turned to Sito. Please make yourself at home. Thank you. Welcome, we meet again. It's been a while since we last communicated, so I'll introduce myself again. I am Ms. Mikihi of Recepshi. Please let me know what you desire. Mikihi said, wearing white-colored clothes, almost like a prom dress, as she gracefully bowed to Sana. We've been called here by Sito. Although it was the second time, the first time she was only a picture, and this was the real thing. Overwhelmed by the lady's aura and glamour in front of his eyes, Sana found it hard to say anything. There were many people with a beautiful appearance around Sana and those with intense personalities, but the atmosphere of the superior first-class Mikihi was as good as any of them. Amain was a woman who demonstrated more charm on the stage and exuded it in the evening. Ms. Jaikiran inversely increased in charm at night, so currently they were only half as charming as usual, but still Sana was overwhelmed by their combined presence. Well, I've been waiting for you, Sana Yamada. The rumors about you are questionable, but I've heard lots from various people. From the space pirates? Kariko came in front to block Sana's fixated view. Yes, not only from the Galactic Federation, but also from the space pirates of Renza. Mikihi shrugged off the feeble attempt at intimidation by Cerberus Kariko. She carried herself with the dignity of an older woman. Have you been briefed on the rest of us? Yes, of course. I know not only Sana Yamada, but I see Amain Konak, Neju Nam Melmoss, and Ryoko Balta are here. Is it better to call you Irma for now? Yes, please do that. Sure thing, Irma. And then what about you, Miss Kariko Masaki Jirai? Mikihi briefly bowed to Irma and turned again to Kariko. There's no need for that since I haven't been officially announced as a member of the royal family yet. Excuse me. Unfortunately, I need to leave, so I will leave you to my daughter who has just arrived. Mikihi said. Maya, who had stopped behind them, walked in front of Sana and graciously bowed. I am Maya, of the Dancers of Recepshi. The feel of her elegance and beauty gave away that she was truly Mikihi's daughter. She still didn't exude Mikihi's presence. Well then, I'll excuse myself for a bit. Haha, okay, that's fine. Sana's gaze was drawn to Mikihi again, and his eyes were stolen by her every move until she disappeared. I was surprised. She is nothing in real life like she is in video. It felt like I was watching a scene from a movie or something. Amain admitted. Of course, everyone there was of the same opinion. I will show you around here, please follow me. Oh! Everyone's consciousness pierced the momentary gap of being released from Mikihi. Maya walked with her arms interlocked with Sana's very naturally. Because that gesture was so natural, Kariko was staring at it for a while. It is as if the audience was watching a scene in a movie. Gah! Amain chased after Kariko, whose temple was throbbing as she followed after Sana and Maya. Kariko's group followed after Sana looking a bit stupid. The appearance of Sana and Maya together was very natural, so they were hesitant to interrupt. Hey Kariko, what do you think of this? Well, no matter how you slice it. Jaikiran-san, I expected your intuition to be sharp at such times, but... Oh, I see. Neju, who had been silent until then, clasped her hands. What do you mean, you see? Because it seems so natural. She seems to have the same sort of atmosphere with him as he and Kariko have. Oh! Everyone understood what she meant. Kariko alone had a slightly different interpretation. She resembles Mom. Her appearance was completely different, but Kariko felt they resembled Sakiko and Sana when he was young. Maya cuddled up with Sana. Sana and Maya came to the VIP room where Sito's crew was. Thank you for your trouble. What do you think about the state of the venue? Haha. I was surprised that this much was built in only 3 days. So, Sana, would you like to see from the view the top? Maya kept her arm entwined with Sana's and pulled him towards the window. Sito rushed to stop Kariko, who attempted to go with them. What is this all about? Actually, Sito explained the history and her intentions thus far. Well then, is this all just for bringing back those idiots? It fits Sirio's personality. Don't you think that the stage should be flashy? I'm surprised he hasn't responded yet. Yes, I honestly don't know what's taking so long to hear back from him. Sirio read the letter that was transferred to the bridge of the Unko. His hand trembled with anger. What does it say? President Daruma's life will be spared, and his ship will be given back, provided I win a one-on-one battle with Sana Yamada. Sirio kicked the chair to vent his anger. Sana Yamada, how dare you take a hostage? You sneaky bastard. I'm sure that idiot will call any minute, he 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 he. Amain said with confidence. Well, if Amain says so, he will come, but even if she disliked him, Kariko was a bit confused about Amain's attitude when talking about her old friend. But Sito, we're still members of the GP. For the time being we can't forget about the threat he poses. Ahahu. Of course, so we have set a cowardly trap using the biggest gathering of science that the Academy has to offer. Don't say such a thing with such a smile. She sounds like a villain. Neju was also confused by Sito's expression. Your views on good and evil change according to your standing position. Either way, for space pirates we are the enemy, so to them we are evil. I'm kindly playing the role of the villain exactly as they assume I will. Oh yeah, that's right. Sito, Eri, and Amain were smiling without any guilt. As expected, Mikami was pretending not to listen because she could not synchronize with the opinions of Sito from her standpoint as the GP Academy principal. It's certainly valid if you consider our opponent's personality. How kind I am. It couldn't be helped either way. Kariko was left with a wry smile. Sito approached the window to watch Seina. So, Maya put her hands on Seina's shoulder. Have you heard Seina-sama? Heard what? Of course, Seina thought that this event was a mistake, but he also didn't think it was possible to avoid a battle. He just needed some time to accept the situation. It was a large-scale battlefield. They had sent an intimidation letter to the villain. It was an unacceptable situation to put a GP Academy student into. As a human being whose bad luck brought others misfortune, he didn't expect to be the one to enact justice as much as he thought he would be a burden to everyone involved. Seina would have also preferred not to get involved in something that made him seem like a villain. Well, Lorelei Seina is the biggest enemy of the space pirates and an earthling, which that stupid guy hates. I can't think of anyone more suitable. But his opponent is Mr. Tennan. Whatever his personality is, he's skilled. That's right, no matter what we have to take safety measures. Humph. How rude of you to assume I won't stop the fighting way before that. To Kariko and the others, it was known that the battle was inevitable, and as expected, Seina also knew this. Kariko diverted her eyes from Seina as if she was embarrassed that there were no other methods to resolve the situation. I don't know about this. Seina looked at Maya, who was next to him. I'm pretty unlucky. Hey now, it's a chance to be on a big stage. Even if you wanted it, an opportunity like this rarely comes along. If you think about it, Maya was the person who was hosting this event. It wasn't an unlucky thing for her. All right, then we'll make sure you have a good instructor. Sito said, putting her hand on Seina's shoulder. She had silently snuck up on Seina. Go get him, ahahahu, Sito said, sending Seina off with a smile. He remained stunned, as he was dragged off by the collar by Kanemitsu. The moment Seina disappeared, Sito stopped waving her hand and turned toward Kariko. This is a tremendous, once-in-a-century confrontation. If you know someone who wants an invite Kariko-chan, please list them for me. The advance tickets are sold out already, so the number of invited guests is limited.